Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Scarfinger. This here is a show that the homie Pimpin recorded on his own. He wanted to talk. Pimpin is like super into wrestling and shit right now, so he wanted to record about one of the newest pay-per-views. And so he recorded on his own. He sent me the file. So I am giving it out to you. Welcome back to the homie Pimpin. I've been telling him to do this for quite some time, to be honest. I have. But for all of the normal listeners, this is some wrestling shit. It ain't our normal shit. It's about wrestling. So if you're not about that wrestling life, you can go ahead and, don't just delete it. Scroll all the way to the end, let the last few seconds play, and so we can count that as played, and be on the lookout for the next show. All right, boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Scarcasm Live proudly presents to you Big Pimpin's Wrestling Review on Rusev Day. What's happening, y'all? It's your boy Big Pimpin, and I'm here in the STL, and I'm gonna try to be back. Me and the Scar, we were talking a little bit, and he says that, since I like this wrestling stuff, and if I ever wanted to just record a little shit and, send it to him, and he would post this shit up on Scarcasm Live. So, first off, if you're gonna like this show, let us know if you like the show, so that way I'll keep knocking one of these out. I don't know how often I'm gonna do it, but I am gonna definitely try to do it on the Monday after a pay-per-view. I might even try next bit of my pay-per-view predictions. If it's really good, maybe I'll even do a little weekly something with some reviews of this shit that we call WWE wrestling. And yes, this will be an explicit podcast because as of this moment, WWE is absolute fucking shit. Whoever is the owner, Vince McMahon, needs to look at his product and say, what the fucking kind of shit is he giving us? Last night was the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. And one, let me just say this. Most of the matches were shit. Two, most of the matches were pretty well predictable. Three, people who should have won, you fucked over again, and I'll get into this as we go through. And four, where was the fucking Extreme? This was just another fucking house show that you put on a goddamn Sunday night and you want to name it Extreme Rules. Well, you know what? Fuck you, Vince McMahon, and fuck your goddamn piece of shit Extreme Rules, because nothing here was fucking extreme. But anyways, let me just get into this shit, okay? Our first match, which is on, we got two matches that were on the pre-show. One, we had Andrea Cien Almas with Zelina Vegas, and he defeats Sin Cara. On fucking NXT, Andrea Cien Almas was goddamn NXT champion. He was fucking, the moment he got Zelina Vega in his corner, he starts kicking ass. He starts looking like a real fucking top-notch dude. Why the fuck are you not utilizing him right now? And why the fuck is he just on a pre-show battling fucking Sin Cara of all fucking people is beyond me. But anyways, he did get the victory. Andrea Cien Almas did get the victory. Good match for Andrea. Glad he got the victory. But it was on the fucking pre-show, and no one else is ever going to watch the goddamn pre-show. Also on the pre-show, you had Sanity, which includes Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane. Fucking badass white dudes who come down, and they just are fucking out of this world crazy. I mean, they're the kind of like biker white dudes that you look at and you're like, fuck this, I'm walking the other way, because these fuckers just look like sick in the fucking head. And they're going against the New Day. The New Day, which consist of Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. And they're in the one of the only few extreme matches, which was a table match. Which, in order to win, you have to put your opponent through the table. Again, it was on the fucking pre-show. There was no one in the fucking audience for this. No one even got a pop. New Day, who just a few shows ago was the people who you were saying were going to be the most winningest tag team, and they were going to beat the Hardys record for most tag team belt victories, championship held, and now they just look like a bunch of buffoons walking around with their damn trumpet, which is fine. I know it's what gets the kids into it, and they're fucking pancakes. But who in the fuck wants to sit here and see grown men eating fucking pancakes? Not me, okay? Now, Sanity, you brought them up from NXT. A couple of the shows that they were on, they lost. They were getting buried. But the good thing is they did win. They ended up winning the match, which is what they needed. Because you've got the Bludgeon Brothers, who, God, their fucking gimmick sucks. And I'll get into that in a minute. Don't know where the hell you guys came up with that fucking kind of a gimmick. But anyways, you've got them, and they're just your dominant motherfuckers. So you need someone now to be a dominant motherfucker, because you let the Bludgeon Brothers go through the New Day, and they went through the Usos like they were just a bunch of fucking little kids. So, we need somebody. Okay? I regress. Let's go back down to the next match. The next match is for your WWE Raw Tag Team Championship. And you've got the broken Matt Hardy, which his gimmick is not getting over like it should have, because no one understands it. And no one is really giving it time to really work, with the Eaters of World, Bray Wyatt, who all of a sudden becomes his best friend in the whole goddamn world because he got thrown in the lake of reincarnation. And they're the tag team champions, and they're going against the B team. And the B team of Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, who was once upon a time the Miz Taraj, who, while their days at the Miz Taraj was getting slapped around by the Miz and was the lackeys for the Miz, and all good and dandy, and on this match, the B team actually did pull out this upset because they were been on this little string of wins, and you know what? Good for the B team. It was actually kind of refreshing, and it was something different and new, and I give them a kudo for that on the kickoff show. And with that, it actually made me kind of think, oh wow, we might have a pretty decent show if you take away the two shit matches from the pre-show that were obviously, again, matches that you could have predicted, because neither one of those two groups in the pre-show should have lost. And even this was kind of predictable, because the B team should not have lost this. They needed the push. If you didn't give them the damn belts and you push them up here just a little bit, then you would be like, what the fuck? You just get a team, you put them together, and then you still let them get squashed. The next match, we see Finn Balor from the Balor Club. Balor from the Balor Club going against Constable Baron Corbin. And I gotta admit, Baron Corbin's new gimmick since he's become the Constable, shaving his head, getting rid of that receding hairline. I do like the gimmick, but Baron Corbin needs to be a little bit cleaner in the ring. He's a little bit sloppy still. You did punish him. You took away his Money in the Bank briefcase. Made him lose it. But then you get him squashed by the Finn Balor from the Balor Club, and you really don't know what the fuck you want to do with either one of these two idiots. Balor's just walking around like a fucking little smiley, bearded, whatever the hell he is, with his little leather coat, always walking around, smiling and doing his shit. Well, who the fuck cares? No one cares about Finn, because he's not in anything important. And again, this is match number 2 on the main card without anything extreme. Here comes my next match that I am just going to be totally fucking pissed about. And they're calling this extreme because you've got Asuka from Japan versus the women's champion of SmackDown Live, Carmella. And the extreme part is James Ellsworth will be suspended above the ring in the fucking shark cage. Okay? First off, and this is going to calm down for a minute before I get into this rant. Fucking Asuka, she's down in NXT. She's fucking kicking ass. She goes on a fucking 2-year win streak. She's the women's champion. She leaves NXT by vacating the title to move up because not one motherfucker down there can beat her ass. Not one fucking person. She's putting on fucking main event matches in NXT. She is one dominant motherfucker. She comes up to the main card, up to the main roster on Raw. You give her a few matches and you make her again look like the most dominant motherfucker around. And you had something going. You had it. I was actually always looking forward to seeing a fucking Asuka match. Now, you motherfuckers. Fuck you. Because I don't even want to see a goddamn Asuka match. Asuka, from the time she's lost to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, to her second loss in the last pay-per-view at Money in the Bank to Carmella, and now her third fucking loss to Carmella. Asuka should not be losing to fucking Carmella, regardless of what day it is. If the fucking green grass was turning purple and the blue sky was turning orange, Asuka should not have ever lost this. You fucked this character over big time. It was the only fucking character that I actually really, really loved. And I mean, I could watch an Asuka match in NXT and I was thrilled. I was always waiting until the weeks that she was on. You fucked them up. Another one you fucked up. This next match was a singles match, and it was for the WWE United States Championship. You fucked him up too, even though you just gave him a belt. Shinsuke Nakamura. In NXT, that motherfucker was awesome. In New Japan, his evil character was fucking awesome. He was a badass. Okay? NXT, again, he was a badass. You bring him up to the main roster. You make him a good guy. Okay? Then you put him in a goddamn thing with a few matches for the WWE title against AJ Styles. You fuck him over. You don't give him the title. And now you start him with this low blow shit where he can only basically beat someone by giving him a fucking low blow. So what does he do? He gives Jeff Hardy, when the referee wasn't looking, a low blow. He runs back, does the Chinsaska, or whatever the hell that move is right now, because I can't get it down on my tongue, to win the United States Championship. And of course, in here, after the match, a little while later, Jeff Hardy goes to Paige to insist upon getting his rematch clause this Tuesday night. Okay? Great. Now, next match. And there's nothing, again, extreme about a steel cage match. We've seen steel cage matches. I don't know why you'd even say it. You have a whole pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell where it's a steel cage match. You've had Greatest Royal Rumble, a goddamn steel cage match. So there's nothing extreme about a steel cage match. But you give us Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens in a goddamn cage match. Okay? The match was typically what we wanted. We wanted to see the monster among men, Braun Strowman, kick Kevin Owens' ass around the ring. And ultimately, the ending was Kevin Owens is on the top of the steel cage. Braun Strowman goes up and basically choke slams him down to 15 feet through the announce table. And we watched Kevin Owens getting wheeled out via ambulance and stretcher. Great. That was a great little piece of a match. And that right there would be the second best match of the goddamn night. Because, one, you gave us kind of what we want. We want to see this monster just tear people apart. So I'm not going to say anything bad about that. But then you turn around. And you just give us a vignette. You gave us this vignette somewhere earlier in the show where Kane gets the door slammed on his foot. And the Bludgeon Brothers did it. And I know you did it because Kane his foot is injured. And that was a way to make it so he didn't have to show up and fight because he was legitimately. But now you have the Bludgeon Brothers, Harper and Rowan, who again, they walk out in these fucking pig masks, carrying these fucking sledgehammers, and they look like fucking, if you look at the goddamn Brothers Grimm, what is that lady, Little Red Riding Hood, like they belong in a fucking kids thing as the Beast, the scary fucking monster. That's what these two fucking idiots look like. Or they don't look like they belong in a goddamn wrestling match. Their gimmick is stupid. But then they take on Team Hell No of Daniel Bryan and Kane. And of course, Daniel Bryan goes out to the ring and he's going to fight them all alone. And then Of course, we get the grand entrance of Kane hobbling his little ass down there, but they still lose. Okay? Great. Who cares? No one cared. And it was for the goddamn tag team championship. And no one yet cared. It was a boring ass match. Next match, you get Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns. Thank God they moved this, because this was going to potentially be the main fucking event of this goddamn pay-per-view. And at the rate it's going, nobody gives a fucking care about Roman Reigns, even though he is the top selling merchandise person. No one fucking cares. He's lost twice now to Brock Lesnar, once at WrestleMania, once at the Greatest Royal Rumble. He's crying like a little bitch, yet he's supposed to be your top babyface, and yet he's can come across as a better heel than anything else, and yet you won't turn him fucking heel because he's Vince McMahon's boy, and you just don't get it that the crowd is just no longer into him. And if you heard it on the last pay-per-view where he main event, the crowd was booing his ass because no one really cared about him anymore when he was fighting Samoa Joe. Okay? And the same thing happened here. During this match, they were getting booed. They were cheering for Bobby Lashley, who has been away from the company for the last 10 years, to kick your top guy's ass. And thank God Bobby Lashley did beat him. You know, was awesome. He beat him with the spear, which was awesome. And the right fucking person won this match. Okay? And hopefully now this will set up something with Brock Lesnar. But here we go. Here's the problem with WWE Universal title. One, and I'm not blaming Brock Lesnar for this shit, because Brock is not to blame, because this is the contract Brock Lesnar signed, that he don't have to show up, and he only has to go to whatever pay-per-views and whatever they pay him for. Hey, I'm a working Joe too, and you know what? If I can make the money that Brock Lesnar makes, and I can say, listen, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that, and yet you're willing to pay me X amount of money to be your champion, and I'm going to make X amount of money with my t-shirt sales and all that shit, and I can tell you and dictate that I only want to work one day a month for you and make $1 million, fuck yeah, oh hell yeah, I'm on that. So I don't blame Brock Lesnar. But now they're basically in the storyline saying Brock Lesnar needs to show up tonight, or they're going to vacate his title or some other bullshit. So we got to wait to see what that's going to happen out. But you know, they definitely need to do something about that. You know, and they supposedly are going to do something. But as of right now, the Universal Championship is a joke because it's never defended. But that's not Brock's fault. As I said, that's WWE. The next match in this was an Extreme Rules women's championship match for the Raw Championship, where we saw Alexa Bliss defeat Nia Jax. Out of the fact that Nia Jax is a bigger woman, she should have just crushed the shit out of Alexa Bliss. But Alexa Bliss, being the heel that she is kind of almost like Ric Flair back in the day, where he always found that way to win, and he always found a way around the rule to win. That's what Alexa Bliss does, and you know what? She does her role right, and I appreciate her role. And I'm not going to shit on this match, but it wasn't a great match. There was a lot of little miscues in this, but it was still a match, and it was better than some of the other matches we saw on this damn card. 2 more matches to go. We have which I don't know why it didn't main event, the WWE Championship match, where we see AJ Styles defeat Rusev Day. Rusev Day! I don't know what you're ever going to do with Rusev. I don't know how you're ever going to give him a push, because you just keep burying this motherfucker. I don't know why you can't see that this guy is selling. I understand maybe not giving him a push over AJ Styles at this time, but if you don't put him in like the U.S. Championship match, or you don't give him a title soon, I wouldn't blame this guy for saying fuck you and walking, because this guy is hot as fucking balls. And I mean, the crowd just goes nuts with the Rusev Day stuff. And even you look at the crowd, there's tons of freaking Rusev Day merch being sold. So why are you constantly keeping this guy down? I don't know. And the main event for the night was Mr. Monday Night Seth Rollins, which I'm going to tell you right now, Seth Rollins needs to be the next Universal Champion, because this guy is probably my favorite wrestler right now. This was a 30-minute Iron Man match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Seth is the man. I mean, he can work. and he was going against Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler ends up winning this match, but god damn, Seth can work. Seth can put on a show. And basically at the end of 30 minutes, it was tied 4-4. GM Kurt Angle walks out, says, nope, this is Raw. You know, we can't have this shit end in a tie, basically. Tells him to get back out there. They're going to do one more. Dolph Ziggler does basically a low blow, cheat, chop, knocks Rollins out. 1, 2, 3, boom. There was no sense. It made no sense to restart the match because it was fucked up restart. Bullshit is all I can say. Bullshit. This was a fucked up restart. It would have been better just to leave the shit at 4-4. Let them go on into another pay-per-view at maybe SummerSlam next. And let them continue this fight out. Or let them continue the damn fight tonight on Monday Night fucking Raw. You know? But to fuck Rollins over like that was just fucking bullshit. And that was this fucking pay-per-view. What would I grade this pay-per-view if I was to grade this pay-per-view? I'd give this fucking pay-per-view a fucking D-. It was fucking shit. Just shit. It really was. In my opinion, the matches were just too damn predictable. It was a waste of his fucking... It was. It was just a fucking waste of time. Nothing progressed any storylines. Like I said, you made some of the freaking wrestlers on there, especially Asuka, just look like a shit. Look like fucking turds. Floating fucking nuggets turds that can't be flushed down the goddamn toilet bowl. She's just now a fucking turd. That's it. That's it. A little bit of news and rumors. If you want a couple minutes of news and rumors, I'm going to try to go through about 4 or 5 more minutes of this, and then I'm going to shut this shit off. News and rumors. First off, before I get into news, rumors, or whatever, let me just say I use Ringside News. That's who I get some of my news from. So what I'm going to give you, kudos, Ringside News. I don't want anybody coming to me saying I'm stealing their shit. Okay? I'm just going to give you a couple little tidbits. One, WWE says that Brock Lesnar won't show up, or Paul Heyman is saying that Brock Lesnar's not showing up tonight. I don't fucking blame him. If it's not in his goddamn contract and he's not scheduled to, and the WWE didn't pay him and negotiate a deal with him to show up tonight, well then fuck you. You don't have to show up. Okay? If you don't agree with me, let me know. I'd love to hear what you say. 2. Article number 2. Vince McMahon not backstage during Extreme Rules. I don't fucking blame Vince McMahon for not being backstage during this. That was absolute fucking bullshit. I mean, this fucking sucked. Even the owner of the fucking company knew it fucking sucked, and he didn't even show up to see his own fucking shitty-ass product. Good. Next little piece of news. Hulk Hogan was reinstated back into WWE, and supposedly he was backstage last night for Extreme Rules, and supposedly he will be on tonight's episode of Raw. Honestly, I think it's really good that Hogan's back. In my childhood days, he was the fucking man. Then he goes over, when he becomes a bad guy, everybody fucking hated him as the NWO Hogan. Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Everybody fucking hated his ass. He is one of the top-notch performers. He knows how to get the fucking crowd into this shit. And right now, WWE, you need to get someone into this shit because we're basically getting ready to say fuck you and stop playing around with your shit. You know, I'm paying $10 a month to watch your shit, and you're giving me shit. And I must be a fucking loser because I'm watching your shit. Titus O'Neil, not happy about Hulk Hogan's WWE Hall of Fame status and return. Well, let me tell you something, Titus O'Neil. I understand where you're coming from. The shit he said was fucked up. He should have never said that shit. Granted, absolute wrong. I'm not down for that. But this motherfucker knows how to make some money. This motherfucker sells merch. This motherfucker knows how to put some seats, people's ass in seats. Titus O'Neil worldwide does not put asses in the seats. Even when you fucking slide at the Greatest Royal Rumble, that was about, what, the biggest hit you've gotten in your whole fucking career. So you know what? Nobody really fucking cares about what you think because you're not putting asses in the seat. And Hulk Hogan apologized, and he's doing community service, and he's doing other shit to make up for it. We have to sometimes forgive people for their mistakes. If he makes the same mistake again, yes, kick his ass out. Another Hulk Hogan thing. Velveteen Dream takes credit for Hulk Hogan's reinstatement. Dude, if you helped get Hulk Hogan back and you did it by your gimmick and you did it by some of the shit you pulled off in NXT so far, more power to you. Because you know what? We need people like you who, yes, you're of color. You were forgiving him and you're saying, listen, this guy was great and he did make one fucking mistake. I forgive him for his mistake. I didn't like what he did, but you know what? Let's get him back because he's awesome. Randy Orton turns heel. About fucking time. Randy Orton, as a fucking good guy, sucked shit. And we saw that the whole time while he was a good guy last year, fighting against Jinder Mahal, getting his ass beaten, zombie prison matches, and all that shit. We need Randy as a heel. End of story. That's when he does his shit best. And as far as any other news, nothing really that I want to go over except for if you like this shit, you can hit me up. I'm going to be on Twitter. I'm at Big Daddy Harold on Twitter, and it's Big Daddy, all one word, and Daddy spelled D-A-D-I-E, Harold. So shoot me a message over there, or shoot Scar a message, let him know. He can shoot me a message and let me know how you like this shit. Went about 30 minutes for this. Hope it's not too long. Hope it wasn't too bad. Please hit me up. Let me know what you like. Thanks. This is Big Pimpin, Harold, and I'm out.
I like that shit, yeah, boy. Look, I'm telling you, Whoa. I'm telling you. All right, I ain't gonna talk.